All right. Christina, can you hear me? Montana?
What was that?
All right. Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Let me try this again. All right, now, can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes?
I can hear you. Kurtik, do we have a quorum?
Okay, I've switched to another device, so hopefully we get this meeting going. Christina, do we have a quorum?
Yes, there is Shauna and Georgina that is attending.
Okay, I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Ruchik Bhakta,
Present.
Georgina Jacob Angel,
Present?
Shauna Sandoval,
Yes.
and Gabriel Garcia, and Ellen Mayfield. Okay, we have a quorum to proceed.
Okay, moving on to approval of the agenda. If there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Shauna Sandoval,
Yes.
Georgina Jacob Angel.
Yes?
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, public input. Do we have any public input?
No, I did not receive anything.
Okay. Moving on into approval of minutes. If there's not any question on the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, I'll second. Roll call.
Georgina Jacob Angel,
Yes?
Shauna Sandoval,
Does Shauna have her mic on?
And no, her mic's not on, so I'm not too sure if she could hear us or not.
Is there any way someone can text her and tell her?
I don't have I don't do I only have my personal cell phone, so I don't use my personal cell phone for work.
Okay, there she is. So Shauna, we had a roll call for approval of minutes.
Okay, sorry, I had a guy was meeting. Okay,
So it's just roll call and approval of minutes. So yes or no for approval of minutes.
yes and yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right, so moving on to the finance report with Jesus. I think you're muted, Jesus.
Okay, now can everybody hear me?
There we go.
Okay. Finance report as of November 30th, 2021 shows cash at $783,890. It's fund balance of $655,873. And that's the two important numbers on your trial balance. Then you got a budget report that reflects your budget for this fiscal year and your fiscal activity through November 30th. You got 253,780 in revenues, and you've got 146,194 in expenditures. The biggest chunk of that is publications and advertising, 105,573. And then you've got a detailed report with activity, and it shows from inception 7/1 through now 11/30 all the detail that's going in there. Revenue and expenditures. Any questions?
Okay, so I mean, the for the first report, I mean, you've listed with the encumbered. So I mean, our balance with all things encumbered is 655. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you're taking, well, technically you should take your cash balance, subtract your accounts payable, but that should put you right at 750. So why is it 655? Oh, because you're taking out the expenditures, your publication and advertising 105. So you're netting out your revenues and your expenditures, which is 107 is your net.
Okay. Just 655. So again, I mean, can you explain the you got ending balance of 783 over there? I'm just trying to get a handle on the fund
If you do
balance line
the
item.
655 that you show
Yeah.
on fund balance,
Yeah.
add the 107 that's showing on your budget report, that adds up to 653, which is the 783 minus your 20,000 in accounts payable.
Okay.
So that's how the math works on that one.
Okay. Then on the budget report, you've given us. So on our budget report that we'd set up are we behind on is there something that we haven't said? Because there's a huge variance between what we set and what our goal is, or this is pretty much on par.
If you look at your
So we're at 253.
encumbrances,
Right. Ending November 30, 2021. Okay.
yeah,
Percent remaining. So I'm looking at all these the line items. So I mean, we have percentage. So the amounts that we set for each one were. I mean, it makes sense for being halfway through, right? If that's the case.
yeah, you can. You're missing a month, but it would be roughly half.
Okay. What's hard to see in these, and really, what we need to pay attention to is, and I don't know if I need to scroll down to these rest of these vertical, but the percentage spent, right? So we're good with the reports on what we're supposed to be setting on advertising and whatnot, and what could be sent on the rest. We're good with the formula.
Yes.
So for what we're spending, we're hitting those percentages, because I know you have to file a report, right?
Yes, we do have to file a report.
Okay.
That's a quarterly report as of December.
Okay. And so you filed it in December, so we were good at that point.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions on the budget? Or any discussion on the budget? Okay. If there's no further discussion, we can move on to business items. Approval of Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance, Guinness River Park revitalization trash cans for $6,500. And if there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
All right, I'll second. Roll call.
Georgina Ortega Angel,
Yes.
Shauna Sandoval,
Yes.
and then Alan he was in the meeting, but he just left. So motion passes.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, so moving on to approval of Las Vegas Arts Council People's Fair for 377,012.
Reject, was there somebody with a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could. Can you guys hear me? There's a lot of echoing.
Yeah, we did hear you. Are you with the Were you with the Hermit Speak?
Yeah. Yes, I'm Leah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Water
Yeah.
supply. And I wanted to find out when we might expect signing a contract on this and acquiring the funds.
That's probably something you'll get together with Christina and after I mean we've approved it now, but
Okay.
it goes to council first, and then after it goes to council, I'm sure you'll have those answers from the city.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Okay, so we're moving on to People's Fair. And if there's not any discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve this.
Second. All right, okay, Alan's entered the meeting, just put it on that record, and roll call.
Shauna Sandoval,
Yes.
Ellen Ayfield,
Yes.
Georgina Ortega Angel.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
All right, approval of Las Vegas First, IBA Fridays al Fresco for 2022, for 15,623, and 15 cents plus $10,000 for musicians.
I want a discussion on that, the request for the musicians.
Yeah. So just let me. I've had the discussion with Mr. Ledger on it and with the city, and so the way they listed it in the packet was they were requesting the 10,000 from the city and not from lodger's tax. So we're considering. I mean, the discussion now is that we're not going to consider that 10,000 at all. The way they put it in the packet was that the 10,000 would be covered by CLV, not lodger's tax. So we're not going to even consider that 10,000 for the discussion for this approval.
Okay, because here you have the 15,010, which would come out. Okay, so
So really,
total.
it's just the 15,623 that we're looking at. That we would disregard the 10,000 at all completely.
Okay, all right, that's all. I just wanted clarification on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just we didn't paying the musicians wasn't within the guidelines of lodger's tax is what we thought. So that's gone. So now within the 15,623, there's a discussion within that amount. We do have a limit per event of 5,000. So I had requested that if it's a really long event, that they divide it up, kind of how like the prior, I think CCHP had broken up their event, so if it was longer. So we've requested that he break that up into seasons, so it's prolonged, so he can come back and request for the future seasons. But our cap for 5 would probably suffice to get him started.
Okay, so for
Mhm.
this fiscal year, it's the 15,6, right?
That's what he's requesting, but we do have a standing cap that we've set, that the Lodgers Tax Board set of $5,000 for events.
Hey, he did an updated one. They sent just yesterday maybe, that has it just with the 5,000.
Is that Christina? Is that something that you sent out that we're considering?
So this morning, I believe it was Susie that was able to get it to me. She did send me the updated application from Steve. I emailed it to you guys probably about an hour and a half ago. But I can share it real quick. Let me see if I can share it.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at has just the 5,000. It's really sketchy how he wrote all these numbers in, though. The numbers are not legible.
So they came out a little weird. So let me get the email and let me open the email real quick. So in the email that they sent me, it does say attached. It says attached. Please find the revised lodger tax application requesting totaling $4,996 and $56.56, and that's for the spring season. And then this, oh, it didn't work. Let me see.
Susie's trying to make a comment.
Go ahead, Susie.
Thank you. First, I'm sorry you didn't get it until this morning, but I didn't know about it until yesterday. I guess that was when there was a meeting with Steve, and he asked me to take care of it. Second, I made changes on a PDF using the PDF editing tool, and it lost a lot of numbers in the translation as it came through. While I was waiting for the meeting to start, I went through and recreated the numbers. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and I will certainly resend I just hadn't printed it. It showed up nicely on my computer screen, but not at all apparently in the print. So if you tell me what you'd like to know, I can run through the whole list if you want to. The total is $4,996 and change, which is for May and June. That's how Steve decided to divide it up. May and June, July and August, September and October will be summer and fall, and we can do the summer and fall in April when you have that meeting.
Okay, I don't have the breakdown in front of me, but if it's sticking with the radio requests, that's fine. I think the issues we had were maybe I think KNMX had the spread, so we were looking at that was well outside the bounds. I think there was a question on whether that was the same for KFUN, and then the other one was
KFUN completely.
Okay.
And in its place, we added digital marketing on the Santa Fe. I'm sorry, am I allowed to speak? I'm not great at this at the protocol. I apologize. We replaced it with the Santa Fe New Mexican online calendar, which is free, but we can add images and our poster to the digital calendar in an equivalent that will cover the that will make up the difference. So KFUN won't get any lodgers tax money at all, just KNMX, KRTG in Trinidad, and KABC in Santa Fe with 2 sister stations.
Okay, and then do we still have things like posters and I think there was a line item on the last one. Again, I don't have the new one in front of me, so I'm not sure what was taken out or put back in.
Yes, sir.
But,
we left the posters, cards, and production in with the clarification that they would only be used out of town in hotels and motels and places where there might be musicians, where when there are events this summer, they would be distributed there. If there are, and there will have to be local, because it's you know, we like the locals to come too. We don't want to exclude them or not tell them what we're doing, but we'll do all of the locals online or in kind. We have somebody who's offered to print for us and that kind of thing. So absolutely $0 will be spent on advising the locals about Fridays al Fresco.
So the main thing is that it's never a discussion. I mean, the main goal of lodgers tax is that it's used for the visitor and tourism aspect of it, and that's the goal, and that's why it's the only push. It's not there's the obvious is, of course, we want the local involvement, but we want to make sure that the from the collective budget of an event, that the lodgers tax portion is used for what the guidance for lodgers tax is. Now, any other budget that you may guys have, or donations, or raffles or raising, that could be used for the local funding, right? That doesn't have criteria. It's because lodgers tax has this criteria of visitor funding. That's why we're asking of it, right?
Yes, sir, that's crystal clear. Absolutely crystal clear. The only reason I mentioned it was because there was concern about it before. So I wanted you to know that if the posters thank the Lodgers Tax Board, none of that money will have come from the Lodgers Tax, but we don't want to have to design multiple posters.
Okay. All right.
Susie, I have a question. How are you going to keep track of your numbers of people, how they were notified or how they got their information?
That's tough when it comes down to details like, did they hear it on the radio or see it in Pasatiempo or both? We could certainly ask for raised hands. We could take surveys, but people don't really come to be interviewed. They come to hear the music. The best we can do is our regular raffle where we have drawing. Raffles are gambling. Drawings are acceptable, I'm told. Anyway, for our drawings, we will give away those tickets in return for a zip code. And we will go through and sort those zip codes after every event. And so we'll be able to keep a running total. So if you would like reporting done monthly or to the city council monthly or just in writing or at the end of each 2-month season, however you want the reporting, we'll be prepared to provide it.
Is there any way that can be shared with the data that is put out on that? I think Virginia does the analytical, the hits, where we could find out what are people looking at, searching for, when it comes to music, in the park?
When we pay for the boost, like we're paying for Facebook boosts, we can tell you exactly how many and provide that information either to Virginia or directly to you. When it comes from something like Pasatiempo, we can tell you how many hits they get, but that'll be for everybody, and there's no way they will apply specifically to us.
Okay. Yeah, any information that could be provided is great. Again, it's not out there. It's not a requirement, and I think that's been what it seems like for a lot of people, is that we have to do this, and so it would certainly help. It would certainly help. Any type of information would help for the setup for our events, to see how successful they are. Any of that data collection to start, and it takes the entire group. It's not any one thing to do. But I mean, if we're wanting to build on things year after year, it behooves the individual events to try track some of this information, and that's kind of what the spirit of the questions are when we're asking of the data is, okay, at least be in the mode so we can start some of it, and it would in turn help the events in the future on what we need to do as far as decision wise.
Well, I hope that in the future that you do report that to the Virginia or whoever's going to be doing the analyticals, because that really that gives a real clear picture as to the activity. It just breaks it down a lot easier than, I like the graphs. I like that where, it shows you the hits, and the last page where it breaks it down, how many people are looking at events, things to do, restaurants, and so forth. So that information is I like to see that. I don't know about everybody else, but it really makes a full picture of the community.
Well, that's one positive of going digital, is that you're able to track it, and that seems to be the attraction for marketing and digital, is that we can see the results, or we can track the results. So that's not just a push that we're trying for here. That's national. That's worldwide. So.
Thank you.
And then just a reminder, I mean, I think a question came up before, and then on the trash cans, I mean, for all of lodger's tax, I mean, I think everybody knows if there's any questions on it, I mean, you know, any requests in for monies, I mean, groups need to adhere to state procurement. I mean, the procurement rules apply. So for any tangible items that's bought, I mean, it needs to go through a quote process. I think it's a 3-quote process. So just a reminder on that, when these monies are awarded, there's still the state process that needs to be done and followed through on as far as spending the money. And so if there's any questions on that, I mean, that's outside of advertising projects, but if there's any questions on that, I would ask questions on how, how procurement works and work with the city to make sure that the group are doing the right things as far as spending the money.
I think Leah left.
All right. So if there's not any other discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, and just to be clear if we can be clear on the motion, that it's for the revised 4996, was it, Susie?
It's 4996 and 56 cents is our estimate based on 2021 numbers with an inflation multiplier. We may have to do some rearranging. We will, I don't know if you'd like us to run that past the city manager. If a price goes up here and we decide we have to transfer that to this category, as long as it's spent on roughly the same thing. But when we do this so far in advance, there's no way we can guarantee prices.
I don't think that's the spirit. I think the spirit of it is that your whatever you're putting down is basically the structure that you're doing. I think everybody knows prices changes, and so I think the ask, and again, it's probably in response to someone putting something down and then not spending any of that. And so I wouldn't think by this point that that's a problem anymore. And then that prices change. But as long as you follow procurement and follow state rules, then there shouldn't be any issue.
I think it's probably sufficient critic if we say not to exceed $5,000.
On the motion? You want to amend your motion? Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, a second on the amended motion?
I second it.
All right, roll call.
Jana Sandoval,
Yes.
Georgina Teagle-Unhead,
Yes.
Ellen Ayfield.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Christina, can you tell me what's next on the agenda? I switched away from my page here. I think it was discussion.
It is going to be the discussion items and its website analytics with Virginia.
Okay. Go ahead, Virginia. You got your mute on.
She's gonna try logging back in because her mic stopped working.
Okay. It looks like I started the meeting off with technical issues, so it started this trend.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so for the analytics, it's basically just your quarterly report. There's not much major activity on it. It's been pretty steady across the board. No major spikes or anything. We kind of still have the same top 10 pages, which is our homepage, things to do, restaurants, Montezuma Hot Springs, and Skillet and Fiestas, I believe. So they're still the same. And the same thing for Facebook. We haven't had very many posts and stuff. So we do have the Google posts that get put on there every week. I haven't gotten all the information on those ones yet, but you will see some of the information in the Facebook report I did give to you guys. And they will be sending the rest of those. Also, I did get some of the analytics and information from the FY22 grant, which I'll send you guys for your next meeting. But yeah, so that's basically the analytics.
Okay, so basically, 40,000 between July 1st and December 31st.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, I did it from the beginning of the fiscal year, which is July 1st till the December 31st, just so that it met the end of that month before your meeting.
Okay. And so what you're saying is if we wanted to advertise, we'd probably advertise around the Skillet's webpage, or their link, since it's getting a lot of attention. I guess some of it is that, yeah, we're getting the reports, but we could probably start maybe using it going forward to see what's working right now. Is there a way we could take advantage of it if we wanted to advertise or do something, considering the activity in those spots?
I mean, you guys could use that for ideas for marketing. I know once you guys get the marketing firm, it would be something that would be a great idea to give up to them and have them maybe create some campaigns or something around that. But yeah, when you get into the marketing portion, it would be helpful for you guys to be able to use that to move forward.
What the existing thing is, yeah. I mean, we're not, other than New Mexico True, right? We're not really running a campaign. So this is our data with what we've got, right? And so it's a starting point if we wanted to capitalize on what we have.
Right, because we're not, as far as I know, the marketing has been switched over to the city manager. So the only marketing I have in my hands right now is the grant. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is just based on that right now. And in the future, if they decide to do, or however they decide to move forward with marketing, again, this is information that can be used to help assist with that. Knowing, of course, what people are looking for the most here in Vegas, where they visit the most. I mean, Skillet, I know, especially with the film, People, they're always on there looking at our website because of that. So yeah, it would be a great tool moving forward for you guys.
Right. Yeah. And the hot springs also make sense as well. I mean, that's inside and out. So from the front desk, from the hotels, I mean, I would say food and popular food, you know, or something like the Skillet and hot springs comes up quite often with visitors that I have at the hotels. That would be two keywords if I were to pull it out of my stats at the hotel. That makes sense there. So when you mentioned grant, you meant you meant the New Mexico True, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our website. Like, do we have like any of the data from because we have digital within New Mexico True, we had the other digital campaigns, right? Or I mean projects within the New Mexico True package.
Right, and that's the analytics and everything that I mentioned that they were sending to me, and I'll send to you guys so you have for your next meeting.
Okay. So that'll be good to know, just so we know what how it's working within what we selected within the packet. And again, I mean, we can be results oriented if we see fruits in there, or we could decide the next time around that we choose something different. But yeah, that would be good to see, and it's great to be able to see it to say, hey, this is the number of people that have actually looked at what we're putting monies forward to. So yeah, for each report, if we can, just so we know, that would provide a lot of information whenever we're approving New Mexico True for the next round, or even just what's happening, right now, and what we could do to capitalize on the advertising that we are doing with New Mexico True. Okay.
Right.
All right. So any other discussion on the analytics report here from Virginia? All right.
Thank you, V.
Thanks, Virginia.
You're welcome.
Moving on to setting deadlines for funding applications. Okay. So we originally set a deadline. I mean, I think it worked somewhat. I mean, we had a limited amount of applications, but it's really the whole idea is deadlines is attempting to set a structure. I think if Lodgers Tax continues to set structure, then it becomes easier and easier for everyone. So I know it's been hard for everyone to get to that point when it's kind of in disarray for a long period of times, but I think it'll help us in the end. Our surrounding municipalities or municipalities that we can look up to do have set deadlines for application fundings. I mean, look, the rest of the city, as far as how that works, I mean, the state, there's deadlines in place. We've always kind of been working on this rolling fashion of having these requests or these things come in whenever we have a meeting, which to me is probably not the most efficient use of marketing or using our funds for marketing. We could probably do a better job of doing that. And so putting this structure back to me is going to be good. It looks like we do need to set the deadline for it. I'm open for discussion on it. I mean, I know that there are more requests out there, so we can set a deadline so that we could address it for our April meeting. So I'm open for discussion on when we would like that deadline to be for applications.
What's it currently set up? The deadline?
The deadline for these past ones was back in October. So we were able to look at it, have a discussion about it, and then have this meeting today. So, but there's more things that we need to address. I'm sure there's events that people would like to get in, and so we're deciding if we want to get that done within our April meeting, when we'd like to have those applications in discussion. So we'd have to call a special meeting in between the April meeting so we can discuss any packets that would come in so that we could approve in April.
It could take a tail. And when we discussed this previously, the idea was a quarterly grant cycle and that we would receive applications no less than 30 days before.
Mm-hmm. I think we could stick with that. I mean, I know we were talking about quarterly. We were talking about quarterly, or at least twice a year. If it's easier for us, but as long as we have set dates and we stick to that structure, so we can with that discussion, that's exactly what we can do. So if it's in April, then we'd have 30 days before to have it in, and we could have a meeting to discuss before the April meeting. So let's see. Right now is January, 30 days before our April meeting would be sometime in March, right? So we can set up 30 days before our April meeting as the deadline. Again, we need to set up a meeting to talk and discuss the packets before we approve them for the April meeting.
Will that give people who are planning events, will that give them enough leeway
I hope so.
funding?
I hope so, because I think they should start now. I think that if they're wanting to market it, and that's been part of the push too, is just to get people to start thinking earlier, start thinking, look, Friday's al fresco, just because they're going to start thinking earlier. So if we could start marketing and getting the message out now, that works. And then if you're further down the road and you need marketing for just the immediate, I mean, that works to me. But if there's a way we can facilitate and make these results so that we're continuously marketing versus right before the event or right around the corner from the event, I think that'll help. So again, I mean, I think we could if we get the message out right now and have that done, I feel that people can make that happen. There's a process to it too, right? We're an advisory board, so timing is, especially right now. I mean, it might seem a long time from now to the summer, but it's right around the corner. By the time we approve these items and by the time it gets through council, it gets so much closer to the event. So we've got to move quickly, and that's why the other cities and stuff start these things early, because they know that time is an issue. You have to start on this early.
Well, I'm good for the April deadline. Would it be April 1st? Would it be the end of April? What are you looking at?
Well, it would be 30 days before our April meeting. So it would be a March, so it's the second Tuesday in April. Okay, so if we're asking for packets, it would be 30 days before. Christina, our April meeting would be...
The April meeting is going to be April 11th, I believe. So if it's going to be 30 days, it would have to be March 11th, which if you guys want to give people enough time to complete the application and submit them in, if you do it the 30 days before, that only gives people 7 weeks. Well, it gives them 7 weeks to get the applications, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
The one suggestion that I could tell you guys to do it, if you guys want to do it, I would say put the deadline for April 1st as the deadline, and then you guys have your regular meeting. You'll have your regular scheduled meeting April 11th, where you guys could get them presented to you guys, and then you guys will have them and then you could call a special meeting the first week of May, which will even give enough time for it to get to council. I think that following Wednesday is the regular council meeting. It would give them enough time for council to get the application. But that's what if you guys want. I mean, it would give you guys about a month to go over the applications and then have that special meeting just to vote on them and then submit them to council, and they would have them in May.
Right. And so That's definitely doable, but again, that's why I'm mentioning is that because the time issue is basically they would be getting their funding in the middle of May for advertising for events in the summer. So that's always the issue of starting late. That's certainly we could entertain now, but hopefully something we could solve in the future is that we're not funding these items within the season, as in at least we're starting to market before we have approvals and things and plans done that we're marketing before the actual events, some of these events occur.
So right now, though, depending on how this year goes,
Mhm.
the only really huge event that would be happening during the summer that I'm aware of, besides Friday al
Fiestas.
Fresco, is going to be the fiestas. So even having everything approved by May and having it in council by May, they should have enough time. Even, you know what I mean, fiestas, they'll have to start planning, of course, that early, but they should have enough time within the 2 months for everything to get paid out, and then it goes over that spread. But it's up to you guys if you guys want to, do it like
Sure.
that. And then, of course, depending, if it is something like the Friday al Fresco, they start advertising, they're going to start advertising, I think, probably around March, April, because they start in May. They start
Right.
May 6th, I believe. So they'll start probably advertising, mid-April, May, to get that out there. And the same thing with the fiestas. If they could get this right, if we could get all of this set done by the beginning part of May, hopefully by the way July comes, they already have they'll already send out their marketing or their advertisements. They would already have everything set. It just mainly comes up to having contracts after the fact, and when we're trying to do it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys have a special meeting, it would be the first week of May. So it'd be like, I think May 2nd or May 3rd is like that Tuesday, if that's the case. So it'd be right away in May that you guys can get this knocked out if that's what you guys want.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly something we can do. I'm open to if the board is okay with that. That's a good combination. My hope is that we can fix that as we go through. But it's fine if April 1st is something that's doable, and then the special meeting going forward, and it's doable with the city as far as following through on that afterwards. Then that's something we could do.
So we're looking at March special meeting, April 1st deadline, April 11th is when we actually approve them, and then by May 1st they sent to City Council. Is that it?
No,
so you guys wouldn't be no special meeting in March. It would be your regular meeting, April, special meeting May, and then that following after your guys' special meeting a week after. That's when council has their regular meeting.
So basically, deadline April 1st. We'd have our regular meeting, talk about the applications, and then call a special meeting in between that time to have approval by May. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm fine with that. That looks good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And this is just in discussion, right? So I don't think we need to make an action for it, Christina. I think this is just discussion.
Yeah, it's only discussion. So it doesn't necessarily be action, but I'll get everything to start advertising for another deadline date, like I did the last year for the October one. I'll do the same thing that I did at that point and start advertising that we're going to be accepting lodger's tax.
Is there a way we could get because when we advertise in like the optic and stuff, it ends up being in an odd section. It's really small. Is there a way we could step up our efforts on the announcement?
I can find out. I know when I talked to the optic, that's when I got the quote for last year. We tried getting it to where you would have the city logo, so it'd be like bigger and more. But that's the way the optic put it. I can find out with the optic if maybe we can get it wouldn't necessarily be like a section. It would have to go in with classifications, because that's all the notices go into the classification part of the optic. I can see if maybe we can get like a bigger portion, but it also depends because how other people do put in their advertisements also.
Yeah. And then even with what, you know, there's media that lodgers tax is funding, and if you know if some of that media wants to help on the announcements for applications, that would help too. Our own website, it looks like we're getting a lot of hits around a couple of items there. If there's a way to put it there, or even on the Visit Las Vegas NM, if we can put it in those sections, anything that we can do to get better communication out, and it's just wide and right in front of you, where you just, there's no way we can miss it. I just want to go like census level communication on, hey, request if you have an event and you need and you're attracting visitors and it works for lodgers tax, that this is you can come apply. All right.
Okay, well, I will do that.
Okay. It's like, all right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting then.
I will second that.
Okay, I think that was a motion by Alan and a second by Georgina. Roll call.
Ellen H.
Yes.
Georgina Taylor Unham,
Yes.
Shauna Sandoval.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.